Mandy, welcome to my YouTube channel Pickety Stitch Life is So Creative, which is a vlog or a podcast, whatever you want to call it, but it's all about crafting that involves fibres and threads. So today is Tuesday the 4th of January 2022 and this is the first upload of the year. So I'm just going to pop my glasses on, and I do apologise for the glare of the glasses. So I just wanted to touch base with you because I am seriously now looking at changing the name of my channel. So I am thinking of what Mandy made next as a new channel name. So if I do, I will let you know on the next vlog, and hopefully the transition will be smooth and I don't lose any subscribers. Gosh, my glasses are steaming up, it's that cold. When I'm speaking, I think the hot air is making me steam. So I usually start with what I'm wearing, and today I'm just wearing a ready, off the rack t-shirt, but I've put on a cardigan I knit. I think I knit this about 3 years ago now. So this is the Tambourine cardigan, and I'll just stand up and show you. It's quite well fitted actually. The designer is Julia Farwell Clay, and I purchased this through Ravelry. It was in the Pom Pom Quarterly magazine 2015 for spring. I think you can now buy this as a standalone pattern. It retails, I think it was $8 when I last looked on Ravelry. So if you put in Julia Farwell Clay, her name will come up as a designer, and you can purchase this singly for $8, or you can purchase the Pom Pom Quarterly magazine, and it is quite a good magazine. Well, they call it an ebook, don't they, on the Ravelry. There's quite a few patterns in there. So yeah, I would personally think if I was going to buy this, I may buy the ebook, because you get a lot more for your book, basically. So I first saw this cardigan styled by Casey Moore on her channel. I used to love watching Casey Moore, and I don't know what's happened. I don't seem to see any more uploads, but she did this in a beautiful, like a petrol blue colour. This is knit in, I think it was a Rico, a Debbie Bliss. Was it a I think it was a Debbie Bliss, but it is merino wool, and I purchased it from a wool shop which was local to me at the time, as now sadly closed. But yeah, I love this bottle green colour, and I thought it looked quite vintage. It's called a tambourine cardigan because you have these little tambourines running down the centre, and these are called nups in the pattern. So they're not bobbles as such, they're just like little nups. I did put a ribbon on the ribbon band. I don't know why. You don't, on the button band, you don't need one. I just decided I would, and this was some from my mum's stash. I do need to actually iron this so that it lies flat, and I teamed it with a little vintage brooch, but like I say, it's really fitted nice. Yeah, and it's all fitted where you increase and then decrease and increase to get that lovely waist shaping. And I'm seriously considering now knitting another one, because I really did enjoy knitting this cardigan. I think, if I remember rightly, it's knit and one, so you don't get the seaming, but I think this was bottom up if I remember rightly. So yeah, look out for me knitting this again soon. I need to mention that at the moment I'm having an allergic reaction. So I don't know what's happened or what I've touched or what I've done. But I noticed the other day when, I noticed yesterday when I got up that my thin skin felt quite dry and thickened. I can tell when I'm having an allergic reaction to something. It's a very slow one I tend to have in the summer to a certain pollen. It's not happened for a long time, but my skin feels rather tough, and I've put some makeup on, but you might just see some reddening around here. And this is one of the signs that I'm having this reaction. My lips are also tingling and my tongue started this morning. Now last night when I went to wash my hands in the downstairs bathroom, I have bought a new lotion because I usually use old-fashioned soap. Naughty really. And so I thought, I better buy some hand wash. So I purchased some which hasn't been tested on anything, so from a reputable store, and when I was washing my hands I looked and I thought, what, my hands, it looked like I'd spilt ink on my hands, fountain pen ink. They were all red, my palms were, and all the veins were really standing up, very prominent, and you could see the dark blue hue underneath my skin, and it was quite a scary moment actually, because I was like, what? And I thought maybe it's the way I've been sat, and I just sat there for a little while. They didn't go down, and I said to Dave, I said, what is happening here with my hands? So anyhow, I have been to the chemist this morning and bought some antihistamine. It's the one that doesn't make you drowsy. It's got a special ingredient. I forgot what it is now. Might begin with Z. But anyhow, I bought that and I've had a tablet at that. But just my tongue is tingling at the front a bit. So I'm just being careful. See how I go. Because I don't want to be going anywhere to get adrenaline. Sure, things don't get worse. But I am a little bit concerned. You can see there is a slight swelling, and it's a very slow reaction. So we'll see how I go tomorrow, and if it's no better, then I'll contact the GP. But I've got to give time for the antihistamine to work. So yeah, all good fun. Don't have any resolutions as such. Usually I break them within the first couple of days, so that's no good to anyone. But I do have some goals or challenges, some things I want to improve on in 2022. So these challenges or goals are focused on techniques. So one of the things I'd like to do is be able to sew some dolls. I have sewn dolls in the past, but I just want to improve my technique, because when it comes to sewing on the hair, just little things, it isn't so good. Now, I bought this book quite a while ago now. I think I must have had this at least 5 years, and it's by, I think her name is Vench Osteenson, and I do apologise if I've got that name wrong. But this is the simple cloth daisy dolls. So simple daisy cloth dolls have got this really cute face. I think they're really lovely, and I'll show you the back of the book. it's quite detailed as well how they actually apply all the hair. So this book is, you've got the different designs. Let me just, I mean that's, so you've got the different designs you can do, and also, I mean, there's instructions how to add the, you know, add the hair. And there's also some patterns at the back of the book to make some clothes for your dolls. And I just think they're absolutely adorable. So I did order some doll skin and some wool stuffing quite a while ago now. I think it was last year. So I really do want to perfect some of the techniques in doll making. So that's one of them, one of my challenges. I'll have to do one each month. Another one is German short rows. A lot of patterns I knit now have these German short rows, and I've noted, especially with my Andy Satterland patterns, the way I have knitted the short rows does show the wrap, and there are techniques to there are some techniques that don't show the wrap, so I would like to perfect knitting the German short rows and getting used to knitting them as well. Sock knitting is another one. I tend to use a vanilla sock pattern. I like to knit toe up, and I use the Flegel heel. It's a technique which is easy for me to understand, but I'm only knitting plain vanilla socks, and yeah, the pattern's fantastic, but I would like to start learning about new heels I can use, especially for my partner Dave, because he gets through socks like Billy-O, because, you know, he's on his feet all day, so he's got hard skin on his heels, which doesn't help. I've now got him wearing slippers, so that should help the poor old sock to last a little longer. But yeah, I would like to, you know, use a variety of different heels, and yeah, knit some pattern socks as well, because you know, I'll watch YouTube a lot and I see some beautiful socks being knitted, especially by Ellie on Craft House Magic. I think her socks are beautiful. And meanwhile at the castle, you know, so you see all these beautiful patterns, and Jacqueline Salem's another YouTuber I watch, and I just think, oh, they're absolutely gorgeous, and I need to, you know, expand, should I say, my sock knitting horizon. The other one I would like to do this year, another technique, is to properly learn how to sew and fit trousers. I have sewn trousers before, but they tend to be the easier type, you know, the ones where you've got the pockets at the front and there's elasticated at the back, so there's no zip insertion. I would like to actually take the plunge and fit some trousers. So yeah, I am looking at a pattern by Seamwork at the moment, and I bought some fabric from Stitchy Bee, a navy blue twill, a good 6 months ago now, and still haven't taken the plunge. So that's another challenge I have looming on the horizon. I think I'd like to also practice my embroidery techniques as well, because I've never really embroidered. I mean, I've dabbled with it, but that is something else I would like to get a little bit more into. And of course, knitting a vintage jumper. Now, when I look at vintage patterns, I sort of got an idea in my head how to convert it into a jumper, and I certainly must admit that this Anne Budd book has helped me a lot. I've knit my grandson a couple of jumpers now from the raglan pattern, and on the last one I actually incorporated that spider motif from another knitting pattern. So yeah, I've got an idea, and I do know Tasha, oh gosh, what's her, and I know Tasha on her website, which is called Gun by Golly. She gives a very in-depth written tutorial on how to convert a vintage knitting pattern into an everyday pattern. I tend to use books by Susan Crawford for my vintage knits, but I would love to, and I've got plenty of vintage knitting patterns, I would love to be able to alter the pattern to fit me, because with vintage knitting patterns, one, they're usually knit and 4-ply, and two, they usually cater for a bust of 32, which would have been quite an ample bust in those days. So you can forget your 42s and 46s. So yeah, I would love to be able to actually sit down and calculate the amount of stitches and rows I would need for a particular vintage pattern. So that's another technique I would love to learn. And then lastly is dyeing wool. I've watched so many YouTubers dye their wool and all vlog about hand-dyed wool they've purchased, and I've done that myself, purchased hand-dyed wool, and I do marvel at the colours and think they look absolutely beautiful. But I would like to have a little go myself, and I know Catherine of Crafternoon Treats did a really good tutorial on hand dyeing, so I think I'll revisit that tutorial and at some point have a little go myself at hand dyeing some wool. I would love to be able to do that. So those are my challenges that involve techniques, should I say. Now, I've also got some what I call solution-focused challenges. Now, I am becoming a little bit overwhelmed with my fabric stash and also my wool stash. This is something that never ever happened to me before, because in the 80s and 70s and 80s when you knit, you only purchased the wool what you required, because there was a lot of wool shops about. So you would go to your local wool shop, and if a pattern required, let's pretend, 6 balls of wool, you would have them put up and you would be given a raffle ticket, you see, and the other ticket would go on the wool. So they would say to you, as long as, you know, you get your garment knit within 4 weeks, we'll keep this wool aside for you. So you knew you'd got the dye lot, and you'd purchase a couple of balls of wool and you would knit so far your garment up, and sometimes I wouldn't have enough money to go and buy another ball of wool, and I'd have to wait till the following week so I could go and purchase the rest of the wool. So that was another useful thing about it. You could just buy a couple of balls and start your garment, and then buy the wool, you know, the rest of the wool when you had enough money. But the good thing about that is if sometimes you knit, say, something what required 6 balls of wool, you might actually only use 5, and you know, you'd let them know, you know, I don't need that other ball of wool, and they would put it back on the shelf, so you know, you weren't out of pocket. And the other good thing about it is that, you know, you hadn't got a spare ball of wool then. So, you know, with buying online, especially within lockdown, buying online and, you know, not having a local wool shop where it's in walking distance, you know, I'm tending to having to buy the amount of wool the pattern suggests, and then you end up with odd, what I call odds and sods, really. That's what we used to call them. And I've got quite a lot. And another thing I'm guilty of is when I go into a wool shop or I'll shop online and see there's a sale on. I mean, it's very, very tempting, isn't it, when they're saying 50% off, and you think, crumbs, you know, oh, I'll buy that. And before you know it, I've got a whole wool stash. I can make garments with, but, you know, you've got a load of 4-ply, and I want to knit my grandson something, and it requires double knitting. So, you know, I think I'd like to get my wool stash down, and I'd also like to get my fabric stash. So my solution focus challenge here is that I'm only going to purchase 1 yard of fabric only when I've used 3 yards of my stash fabrics up. And that goes the same with my quilting cottons as well, because I need to get the stash down. So I was very good this year, because when the New Year's Eve day sales came on and I could see all these sales flashing up in emails, I was really good. And I don't think I even looked on some of the websites, to be honest. I thought, no, I'm not going to be suckered into buying any more fabric. Same for wool. So for every 300 grams I use, then I can use that as some currency to buy 100 gram. So that way I can get my wool stash down. So I will keep a record of what I'm using and what I'm purchasing, so I don't break that challenge. I think the other thing is I would like to utilise my clothing scraps. So I'm setting myself a little goal here that anything I sew and make within 6 months, I have to use the scraps of fabric up. Because dressmaking, you do waste a lot of your fabric. You do. You get quite a lot left over. So, you know, it's utilising that fabric straight away. So I haven't got lots of scraps left. And I think the other thing as well is I went to a workshop not so long ago at Liberty Bell, and we were all having a little chat as we were sewing, and I was telling the ladies that I had quite a few Christmas projects I wanted to sew for Christmas, and it had just ran away with me, and I just hadn't got time to finish what I wanted. I just hadn't got the time to devote to the Christmas projects that I wanted to. And this lady said, oh my, she said, if you want to make Christmas presents or anything to do with Christmas, you need to start in January. And I thought, you know, you're so right. The other thing is I've got into needlework lately as well, and I love my seasons. And so if I'm making things in autumn, I'm finding by the time I've finished the projects, we're nearly into winter. So I'm a season behind. So what I've decided to do is all my seasonal projects, I'm going to start a season before. So although it's nice and cold now and it's winter, and I do love this season because I look forward to knitting all my winter woolies, I'm actually going to be starting my spring projects so that when spring arrives, I've got my projects ready to use for that season. And in spring, I'll be working on my summer projects, which is a good thing really, because by the time summer comes, I'll be working on all my autumn and winter ones. Lovely. So that's another thing I'm thinking of. And also, I like to you know, make things for people at Christmas. So I'm thinking perhaps make at least one Christmas project every month, you know, a Christmas present, so that by the time Christmas does arrive this year, I will have plenty of options there. So yeah, the other thing I was thinking of as well is keeping an up-to-date knitting journal, because this is ridiculous, but I'm knitting a gauge for every time I knit a jumper, and I'm thinking, well, I knit this in Stylecraft the other, you know, on my last project, what was the gauge? I can't remember. And so, you know, I'm going to make myself a scrapbook with some envelopes, and I'll show you that so what I'm going to do is I want to make a journal, and I want to keep a proper diary of my makes, so I don't have to keep knitting up all these gauges, and detail more the diet, and to diarise more in detail those knitted projects. I'd also like to keep a diary of all my makes this year as well, so at the end of the year I can look back on everything I've made, because a lot of people tell me, you make such a lot of things, and I think, well, I don't, and I must do really, so for them to say that. So I'd like to keep a diary of those makes. And yeah, I have got, ashamedly, some works in progress, so I would like to at least every month devote some time to a languishing whip which has been forgotten in the annals of time, and bring it out and finish that off. So yeah, I'd like to be a little bit more organised as well, because I haven't always got a lot of project bags. So, for example, I'm currently still using a Halloween project bag for my knitting. So that's another thing I would like to do, is to make some more project bags and notebooks, and, you know, needle books. So I'm a little bit more organised with my crafting. So yeah, quite a lot there to talk about. Just going on to say that usually I like to have 10 projects on the go. I don't know why I fixated on the number 10. I don't know, and not the number 7, but there we go. That's me for you. And they're usually a mixture of different crafts, because I use the different days of the week to devote to those different crafts. So I'll just run quickly through my projects I will be working on this month. So I'm going to be bringing back out my Heaven and Earth design. This is the mini sea beacon cross stitch, and as you can see, I've done the first 3 pages there. So this is how long this is going to be. I love this, the depth of the sea and the waves as they crash up a dress, I just think are absolutely fantastic. So this is a design by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths, and it's been charted, I believe, by Michelle Sayer. I do apologise if I've got those names incorrect, but I do love working in the blues and the greens, the bluey greens. They are my favourite colours. So this is on an 18 count Aida. It's gridded already. You won't see the grids because this is a full coverage piece. So when I finally finished stitching this, you won't see any spaces. I think, you know, I would not do full coverage unless it's gridded, because, you know, so helpful. So easy to lose count if you're not careful. So the grids, I think the 10 by 10. Let me just check. Yeah, the 10 by 10. So basically in each square there will be 100 stitches. So that is my mini sea beacon. I've also got a knitting project on the go. See, I've got different things in different bags here. But this is the Eglatine jumper, and this is by OGE Designs, and it is knit top down. Now, I initially started this on my wooden higher double pointed needles, and I've now changed to my addies, because obviously with the as the stitches increased, then I needed longer DPNs, but I prefer to work on my addies when I've got quite a lot of stitches. I've divided off now for the sleeves, and I'm currently working on the body. So I will pop a stitch marker in today, and then I'll be able to show you the progress of this after I've worked on it some more. So it's quite a simple little pattern. It's quite pretty, I think. And yeah, this is for my youngest well, she's not youngest now, my middle granddaughter. I'm knitting this in a bonus double knitting wool by Hayfield. I think this was the lemon colourway. Primrose. It's primrose. So that is the wool. Now I've got 300 grams of this, so I should have enough wool. So this is what's left of my 100 grams so far. So need to keep a record. So yeah, I'm knitting this for age 6. Now she is not 6, she's only 4, but she's going to be 5 soon, and I do want the jumpers to last a little bit longer, so I need to get a spring type of themed bag. But it's quite useful, that Halloween one. It just fits a jumper in rather comfortably. Over the Christmas period, I was working on kringles, and this is a design by Little House Needleworks. And I did make some more progress on this. Oops, everything's falling over. Since I last spoke to you through Vlogmas. So I did finish that window of toys there. Oh, it's so cute, isn't it? It's got a candy cane, little Christmas tree, little doggy there in a truck, little building blocks, and yeah. And then the middle window was, it's a clock, and this is just Krennic I've used here. I use my Krennic double. I didn't team one strand of Krennic with a thread as suggested. I just did double Krennic. Now here I have changed it a bit. Let me just show you the original. The original window here. It's got a Christmas tree and a bird and a gilded cage. But I decided to personalise my my store windows. Now this dolly here has got pale brown hair like my granddaughter, and then I decided I would this is do a dark hair here for this little dolly. So this is my daughter, and then this is my granddaughter, my eldest one. So yeah, I've personalised it a bit, and when I work down here I'll do 2 other dolls like with the same colourings as my other 2 daughters, but I thought that would be a little bit more customised and personal to me. So yeah. So that's my Cheryl and Abigail there. They'll think I'm silly, but I just thought it, you know, made it just a little bit more extra special. So this is now going to be folded up and put away because Christmas is gone, and I'll start working on this again in the summer. So, oops, there's some thread there as well. I need to sort out. So I'm going to pop this away now in my Christmas project bag. And you've seen this before. This is one I made with some, I think it was White Christmas by, is it R&J Fabrics, I think. Patrick Luce was the designer. So yeah. And that means I bring back out this one, which is a cross stitch piece I was working on before Vlogmas occurred. And this is for my youngest daughter. The pattern is by the Historical Sampler Company, and that is what it should look like when completed. And this is on a 14 count Aida in the oatmeal colourway. And I really was loving working on this. I'm just currently started back up, working down this side, and then I'll work across. So all the tartan or plaid, is what other people may call it, will marry up. So yeah. I really enjoy working on that piece. So that was a kit, by the way, and so we've got all the colourful threads. My next project, which will be project number 4, is a cross stitch one again, and it's Coffee with Mickey, or Mickey's Coffee. I forgot what it's called. But it was actually a stitch along initiated by Denise from Black Ribbon Studio and 2 other YouTubers who cross stitch, and I'll put their links in down below because I've only managed to get round to watching one at the moment, so I need to catch up with all that. But I've gone and purchased all the thread and bobinated them now. So there are 35 threads in this particular project, DMC. There are different measurements, but I've went out and I thought, you know what, I don't want to be waiting for Aida to get cut and arrive. So I went out to Hobbycraft and purchased this 16 count. It's in a cream colourway. So the finished piece, okay, so 16 count means that the finished piece will actually measure 15 inches wide by 9 inches high, and in centimetres that would be 37.5 wide and 22.5 high. The stitch count is actually 250 stitches wide and 150 stitches high. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to working on the coffee with Mickey. I've also got another project, but this is ongoing throughout the year, and this is by again the Historical Sampler Company. So I bought both these kits from Love Crafts, the historical. So I bought, so it's the same as this one, same company. I bought both these kits from Love Crafts. So as you can see, this goes through the days of the year. So I need to get cracking on the January one, which is a snowman. So I better be careful that I'm not going to jinx. We have a heavy snowfall. But those are all the threads in the back. And again, it looks like this is a 14 count Aida and oatmeal colourway. My next project, and this will end up 11, won't it, is my Beatrix Potter inspired quilt. I am making a quilt which is specifically for story time. And you may have remembered, I mean, I'm buying pieces of linen, it's upside down. That is actually Mrs. Tiggywinkle, but no one can quite make her out. And I used this like, it was a dissolvable gridded square to make the crosses. But those are the eyes and that is the nose. So if you stare at it for long enough, you'll make her out. But I was going to just put some squares of fabric incorporated, you know, the craft cottons. I've got some with Mrs. Tiggywinkle on, some with Jemima Puddle Duck on, but you know, I don't know whether now to not put squares but make them into little hexies, because I think that would be cute and more girlified really for the quilt. So I shall do a little bit of work on this each week, and you'll see some progress. So on Monday is my Miniature Monday, where I like to work on a miniature project. Now, you may remember from my Vlogmas, I've been to Liberty Bell to a workshop. And so this is an online shop in the UK, Liberty Bell, and she sells crafting cottons, kits, and it's very much... and also different items of Americana, and it's just up my street. And luckily enough, talking about just up my street, it's quite local to me. It's situated in Cheshire, in Northwich, and she facilitates workshops, which just lately I have been visiting a lot of. So when I was last there, I picked up this kit. It's called the North Pole Pixie. Yeah, that's right, North Pole Pixie. So Sue, who owns Liberty Bell, she actually designs these kits herself. So I couldn't help myself. I thought, you know what, I just want to finish off my Christmas and make her up. I don't want her to sit around for another year waiting for me to make her up. So let me just show you. I mean, look at her little pixie shoes. So she's got a little, lovely little underskirt. So you get lots of fabric. She's got a little sash on. And yeah, this is her little hat. And she's gorgeous. Love her. I've just got to sew a necklace, secure that in place. And then I've put some holly leaves and berries on, and then you've got enough felt, woolen felt there to make some more, and they stick to this glittery pipe cleaner, and then that goes in between her hands. So that is my, yeah, my North Pole Pixie. Love it. So pleased. Sue does some incredible kits. I mean, they really are worth it. They really are. Yeah, I'd love to make another one. So, well, I've got the pattern now, so yeah, it's great. Love her. Right, so that's what I made on Miniature Monday. But there are plenty of other little mini projects I will be doing that are spring inspired. And then on Friday, usually I try and sew something, and I think I'll be delving into my knit fabric scrap pile because, you know, it's ridiculous. And I just want to get some jumpers made up now, and my grandchildren can have some to wear. So I just want to use them up really, all my knit fabrics. I've got lots of scraps. So I'm thinking knit these jumpers up, knit them up, sew them up, and get my scrap pile down. I've also got a crochet project on the go, and you'll probably be familiar with my Floralia blanket, and I have now on section 7, so I am about to start that, and I believe I'm going to do a slip stitch around here, and then there's another row, and then I start what's called the mesh border. So I'll be starting that. So this is grown quite a lot now, and it's taking me quite a while to actually crochet around, because they do when they get bigger. And like I say, I wanted to do a Christmas gift every month. Now you may recall I did purchase this fabric, and I was aiming to make my youngest granddaughter a little dress. I showed you this in my Vlogmas. Unfortunately, I just didn't have the time. So I have now picked a pattern. It's called Creations by Mitchie. I'd already purchased this pattern and made a gingham dress last year, I think it was, for my other granddaughter. So this starts at 2 years old, so she'll be 2 this Christmas coming. So I'll be working on this for then. So this will have a smocked front. So I will show you through, show you the process and the progress of this dress. I did also want to finish the dress I was intending. This was another dress I was intending to make my other granddaughter, who's hers. So her sister is my other granddaughter, and I made her a tartan dress at Vlogmas, and I wanted to make another one with this beautiful fabric. However, it just got too much, so maybe in the February or nearer to Christmas I'll be using this one up. But definitely I am going to be cutting into this one in January sometime. So those are my, well, there's 11 projects there. And just to say that, see how I go with my cross stitch, but I will also at some point in the next 8 weeks be looking at starting this spring one. So you may recall I made the summer pillow, which was this one, with threads from my stash. So I will again be using threads from a stash to make this spring one, and this is by Leela Studios, and it's from the first season Blessings range. So I think that's everything covered. I'll probably go, oh, I forgot to mention but it doesn't matter. I'll be vlogging next week, so I can pick up anything I've forgotten then. I've also you may recall I made the December mat from buttermilk basins. So this is a monthly mat which features trucks. So I am thinking of purchasing the January and the February one from Liberty Bell, because I would like to have the whole 12 months of mats. Not forgetting, I've signed up for the quilt club with Liberty Bell as well, so I will be making a quilt throughout the year with Liberty Bell. So I think there's quite a lot there to be going on with. Hopefully I'm going for the next 7 days have a little crafting frenzy. Can't wait, and I'll see you next week with my progress. So until then, happy crafting. Bye.